My 9-year-old spent weeks helping plan her cousin's party and spent all her savings on decorations. On the day, we arrived to an empty house. Change of plans, close family and Brooklyn's friends only. She froze. I didn't shout. I did this. 3 days later, their lives started to unravel. Lily had been talking about this party since September. Brooklyn's going to love the theme, she'd said at least 20 times, leaning over her notebook full of sketches. Balloons, tablecloths, centerpieces, all color-coded. I'd watched her save every coin from her allowance to make it perfect. And she did. She spent her own money on ribbons and a personalized cake topper she'd found online. She'd wrapped Brooklyn's present herself, a jewelry set, sparkly enough to pass the cousin's approval test. So when we pulled up in front of my sister Amber's house that morning, Lily's excitement could have powered the car. "Do you think she'll like my dress?" she asked, smoothing the hem for the 5th time. "She'll love it," I said, smiling. I meant it. I wanted today to erase the little cracks. The times Lily came home quiet because Brooklyn had ignored her at school or accidentally left her off a group chat. We turned into Amber's street. Empty. The balloon arch that had been there yesterday, gone. No cars, no laughter. Just a deflated streamer caught on the mailbox, flapping in the wind like an afterthought. Lily leaned forward in her seat. "Are we early?" "Maybe," I said, though it was already 10 minutes past the invite time. She was out of the car before I could unbuckle. The gift bag bumped against her knees as she ran up the porch steps and pressed the doorbell. One chime. Silence. She rang again, louder, then knocked. "Maybe they're hiding," she said, half laughing. "You know, surprise entrance or something." "Could be," I said. My stomach didn't buy it. I stepped onto the porch beside her. The curtains were drawn. Inside looked dim, abandoned. The kind of quiet that feels deliberate. Lily peered through the glass. "I see balloons." Maybe they're in the back? There were balloons. Old ones. Half deflated, left behind like scraps from a celebration already finished. She turned back, confusion flickering across her face. "Mom?" "I'll call Aunt Amber," I said quickly. My phone was already in my hand. When I unlocked it, a notification popped up. New message from Amber. 5 minutes ago. Change of plans. Close family and Brooklyn's friends only. That was it. No apology, no explanation. My throat tightened. I turned the screen away before Lily could see it. "Maybe they went somewhere else," I said, too brightly. "Let me check." I stepped off the porch, pretending to scroll through my contacts while my pulse hammered in my ears. Then I called. Amber picked up on the second ring, her voice cheerful, practiced. "Oh, Laura!" "You got my text?" "I saw it," I said, keeping my voice low. "Amber, what happened?" "We're at your house." "Oh, we decided to keep it small. You know how kids are. Brooklyn wanted a different vibe this year. Just close family and her best friends." "She is family," I said, "and she's been helping you for weeks." Amber sighed like I was exhausting her. I know. But I can't make Brooklyn invite people she doesn't want to. She's getting older. She has her own group now." "Amber, she's 10. "Laura," she said, soft and patronizing, "please don't make this harder than it is." My free hand clenched into a fist. She's sitting in the car with her gift. "You could at least let her say happy birthday." "I can't," she said quickly. "We're already out." We decided last night to do something more private last night, meaning they'd had hours to tell us, and didn't. Amber kept talking, something about how she hoped I'd understand. I hung up mid-sentence. I stood there for a moment, the wind tugging at my hair, my phone still warm in my hand. In the car, Lily was watching me. Did she answer? Are they coming? I forced a smile. They, changed plans. I'm finding out where her eyebrows knit together. Changed plans? I opened my mouth, searching for a version of the truth that didn't sound like cruelty in a cardigan. Before I found one, her phone buzzed. She looked down. Her cousin's name flashed across the screen. Brooklyn's story. Best day ever. Lily tapped it. Laughter. Candles. Balloons. Brooklyn surrounded by kids from school. The caption, "Family plus my besties equals perfect birthday." Lily didn't speak. The color drained from her face. Hey, sweetheart. Her shoulders trembled. She put the phone down like it burned. She said it was family. I know. And friends. I know. Am I not? She couldn't finish. I reached for her. She jerked away at first, then collapsed against me, crying so hard it shook us both. I held her tighter, whispering the useless lines mothers are supposed to say. It's fine. We'll make it up to you. People can be thoughtless. Lies. Every one of them. The gift bag slipped from her lap onto the floor. The tissue paper fluttered. For a while, neither of us moved. Outside, the sky was dull gray, the kind that promises rain but never delivers. When her sobs finally slowed, she whispered, "Why would they do that?" I didn't have an answer. I just tucked her hair behind her ear and said, "You didn't do anything wrong." She nodded, though she didn't believe me. We sat there in the parked car, side by side, staring at the dark house like it might apologize. 3 days later, they were the ones who regretted everything. Their lives started to unravel. It wasn't the first time one of Amber's parties ended with someone crying. It was just the first time the tears belonged to my child instead of me. Growing up, Amber didn't walk into a room. She arrived. She had that kind of presence people notice before they realize why. I was the quiet one, the reliable daughter, the one who reminded Mom about bills and permission slips. Dad left early, too early to remember what he sounded like when he wasn't yelling, and Mom raised us on her own until Gary appeared. Gary was polite, helpful, and full of opinions about how wonderful Amber was. "She's a real people person," he'd say. Then he'd turn to me. "You'll find your thing." I had a thing. It was being ignored. Mom and Amber were best friends. Matching handbags, salon appointments, whispered jokes. I was the background noise. Their laughter always had a punchline I couldn't hear. I told myself it was fine. At least silence didn't hurt as much as trying to join in. When we grew up, nothing really changed. Amber married Brandon, who thought the sun rose whenever she smiled. I married Michael, steady, kind, not one for drama. We both had daughters about 6 months apart. Amber's family became the center of gravity again. Mom and Gary doted on Brooklyn, showing up with gifts and praise, talking about how mature she was, how bright. Lily got compliments when someone remembered she was standing there. Brooklyn had the same sparkle her mother did, pretty, confident, practiced. Lily adored her. They went to the same school, same class. Brooklyn was technically older by a few months, which meant she got to be in charge. Some days she was sweet, looping Lily into her circle. Other days she was cold, leaving her out with a shrug. It was the same performance, just with smaller actors. I wanted to say something, but I didn't. I told myself kids sort these things out. And besides, Amber always had an explanation ready. "Brooklyn's just particular," she'd say. "She likes things done her way." Then came the money. Over the years, the family had set up a shared fund, a joint pot everyone contributed to for holidays and birthdays. The rule was proportionate to income, which meant I paid the most. Amber spent the most. No one said it out loud, but we all knew. It covered vacations, family events, parties, a running tab for togetherness. When Brooklyn's birthday came around, the planning started early. Amber called it a group effort. I'd call it expensive. Lily got swept up in it. She spent weeks helping Amber and Brooklyn with decorations, crafts, little projects. She was thrilled to be included. One afternoon she came to me, hands full of coins and crumpled bills from her piggy bank. "Brooklyn said I should help pay for the decorations," she said. "She's buying them herself." I stared at the pile of cash. "Did she ask you for this?" Lily nodded. "She said everyone's pitching in." I wanted to say no, that it was wrong, but the hope in her eyes stopped me. It wasn't about money. It was about belonging. "Okay," I said quietly, "if that's what you want to do." She poured the money into a small envelope, her entire savings, about $150, and handed it to Brooklyn the next day. Brooklyn smiled, said thank you, and turned back to her friends. That should have been my warning. I didn't know the shared fund was paying for the rest. My money, really. Thousands toward an event my daughter would end up standing outside of. By then I'd stopped questioning Amber's choices. It was easier, but I remember the moment I realized how neatly she'd kept the hierarchy alive. 2 sisters, 2 daughters, 1 pattern on repeat. Amber had always needed a mirror to admire herself in. This time, she found one with pigtails, and I let her until the morning Lily knocked on that locked door. When I look back now, I can see the setup was perfect. The fund, the children, the silence. It wasn't just a party gone wrong, it was a lifetime's rehearsal for it. I'd spent most of my life keeping the peace. The day after Brooklyn's birthday, I stopped. The locked door scene kept replaying in my head like a bad movie. Lily on the porch, clutching that gift bag like it was proof of her worth, asking if we were early. Every time I blinked, I saw her face when she realized we weren't. Amber's text, change of plans, close family, and Brooklyn's friends only, sat on my phone like a bruise I couldn't stop pressing. By Monday morning, I was done pressing it. I logged into the family account, the one we all used, but somehow always benefited Amber more than anyone else. The fund looked the same as it always did. My deposits, her withdrawals, Brandon's token $50 transfers once a quarter when he remembered. I didn't move the money. Not yet. I just stared at the balance and thought about what fair should look like. Then I opened a new tab and started booking a venue. "Mom," Lily said that night, frowning at the screen, "why are you looking up magicians?" "Because you and your friends deserve a party that actually exists." She blinked. "You mean like Christmas?" "Exactly like Christmas. A kid's Christmas party. You'll help me plan it." Her eyes widened the way they used to before Brooklyn taught her to doubt herself. "Can I invite everyone?" "Everyone," I said. "Except Brooklyn." She hesitated. "She'll be mad." "Good," I said, smiling over my coffee. "She can call the complaint department." Lily laughed for real this time, the sound rough from disuse. "You're really doing this?" "Oh, very." By Wednesday, the invitations were done. Same format, same group chat Amber used for Brooklyn's birthday. A few clicks, a polite caption. "Holiday fun for the kids! See you all there!" Within 10 minutes, my phone started buzzing. Amber's name flashed on the screen. I took a sip of coffee and answered. "Laura, I assume this is a joke?" "Nope." "You invited everyone but Brooklyn." "Yes." Her voice went tight. You can't punish a child for something that was out of her control. You mean a child who told my daughter she wasn't close family? Amber sighed, the long-suffering kind that makes you want to break things. You're being ridiculous. It was a small misunderstanding. You're using family money for this. The same family money that paid for Brooklyn's party, I said. You know, the one we apparently weren't family enough to attend? That's different. How? Because that was her birthday, Laura. You can't compare. I can, I said, and I just did. For a second, I thought she'd hang up. Instead, she went for the moral high ground. Everyone's already talking about this. You're making yourself look petty. That's fine, I said. I'll look petty from the dance floor. Her gasp was almost satisfying, sharp, indignant, like she'd bitten into a lemon. Click. By Friday, every parent had RSVP'd yes. Every child from their grade, every cousin, everyone except Brooklyn. Lily helped me pick decorations, green and gold this time, none of Brooklyn's pink and silver glitter nonsense. She was quieter than I expected, thoughtful, like she was afraid to jinx it. Do you think she'll say something? She asked. Who? Aunt Amber. She always does. She can say whatever she wants, I said. We're not listening. That earned a grin. A small one, but real. Watching her fuss with ribbons, I realized the house finally sounded different. No more whispers about being left out. No more silence heavy enough to break a heart. The next afternoon, Brooklyn called. I knew it would happen. The silence from Amber's number was just too suspicious. Hi, Aunt Laura. Her voice was syrupy sweet. Mom said you're having a Christmas party. I am. Oh, okay. I think I didn't get the invite. I think you did. She laughed, the fake kind that ends in a pout. So, can I come? Yes, I said. Pause. She hadn't expected that. You can come after you bring $150 from your own pocket money and apologize to Lily. What? That's what Lily gave you for decorations. That's not fair, she said, voice rising. Exactly, I said, feeling the words land like a door finally closing. And I hung up. The morning after I hung up on Brooklyn, my phone started screaming. Not ringing. Screaming. Amber. Mom. Then Amber again. Then a string of numbers I didn't recognize but had family written all over them. I let them pile up like junk mail. By lunch, the first version of the story had already made the rounds. Laura is charging a child $150 to come to her Christmas party. No mention of the locked door, no mention of Lily's tears, no mention of the close family and Brooklyn's friends only message that was still burned into my screen. The group chat looked like a courtroom, half outrage, half gossip. Unbelievable. She's punishing a 10-year-old? Imagine being that bitter. I didn't reply. I never reply when they expect me to. At 3:30, Mom called. The ringtone felt like a threat. Laura, she said, skipping hello. What on earth are you doing? Hi, Mom. Your sister's in pieces. She called me crying, first time for everything. Don't start with that tone. You've humiliated her and poor Brooklyn. What kind of person makes a child pay to go to a Christmas party? The kind of person whose own child paid to go to a birthday party she wasn't allowed to attend. That's not the point. Then what is? You're tearing this family apart. I rubbed my temple. Mom, this family came pre-torn. I'm just holding up the ripped edges. She inhaled sharply. Your sister loves you. Uh-huh. You've always been jealous. I hung up. For an hour, I just sat there at the kitchen table, scrolling through comments, watching them pile up. Every new one said the same thing in a slightly different font, that I was cruel, vindictive, obsessed. I read them until the words blurred, until the screen looked like static. The next morning, I decided to end the whispering. I uploaded 2 pictures. No captions, no comments, no explanation. First, the envelope with Lily's handwriting, for Brooklyn's party decorations. Second, a screenshot of Amber's message. Change of plans, close family, and Brooklyn's friends only. That was all. The silence that followed was almost physical. Then came the notifications. I had no idea. That's awful. Good for you. It was like watching people change sides mid-game. Amber didn't post for the rest of the day. Brooklyn quietly deleted a few of the party photos she'd shared. By Friday, the quiet was worse than the noise. It meant they were plotting something. Sure enough, at noon, the doorbell rang. A delivery? No, Mom. She didn't even wait for me to invite her in. "This is madness," she said, marching straight to the living room. "You're destroying your sister's reputation." People won't speak to her. Sounds familiar. Laura. She destroyed herself, Mom. I just stopped covering the cost. You're so cold. Because I learned from the best. She blinked, offended, like the insult hadn't fit the mouth it came from. Then she grabbed her purse and left without closing the door. The Christmas party was 2 days later. The hall glittered with green and gold, lights strung from every beam. The smell of cookies and hot chocolate hung in the air. Lily's laughter came from somewhere near the games table, sharp and bright. People kept congratulating me on such a nice idea. They used that careful tone adults use when they mean good for you for surviving that mess. Halfway through, while kids raced for prizes and the music played, the door opened. Amber. And Brooklyn. Of course. You could feel the air change, like someone turned down the volume on the whole room. Amber looked flawless, as always. High heels, red lipstick, that smile she used when she wanted to win something. Brooklyn stood half behind her, clutching a silver envelope. "Laura," Amber said, all warmth. "We wanted to talk." "We're in the middle of the party." "Exactly. Everyone's here, and Brooklyn has something to say." The crowd drifted closer. Parents, kids, curiosity. Brooklyn stepped forward, eyes flicking everywhere but mine. "I'm sorry, Aunt Laura." The words came out stiff, rehearsed. "For not inviting Lily." It was mean. I shouldn't have for not inviting her, I asked. Or for taking her money and spending it? Her chin trembled. "Both." Amber beamed like a director proud of her actor. She insisted on making it right. "Go on, sweetheart." Brooklyn held out the envelope. "It's $150. From my own savings." Amber jumped in, her voice too bright. "We talked about it all week." She wanted it to be sincere, sincere. The word hung there like perfume. Sweet, fake, choking. I took the envelope but didn't open it. Amber smoothed her coat. "So, we're good now? Brooklyn can stay?" I looked at her. "That's not up to me." I turned to the room. "What do you think? Should they come in?" A few adults exchanged glances. One of the moms said softly, "After everything?" "I don't think so." Several kids shook their heads. Amber's smile cracked. "You're really going to make a show of this? You made one when you left a child crying on a porch." Brooklyn's lip trembled. Amber snapped. "Fine. Then give us the money back." "No," I said. "My daughter paid you and never got to take part." "This isn't revenge. It's a refund." A ripple of whispers ran through the crowd. Amber's voice rose, desperate now. "You're unbelievable!" "I'm consistent," I said. "You take." I return. Brooklyn started crying, loud, messy, real this time. The sound sliced through the music. Amber grabbed her hand. "Come on, sweetheart." "We don't need this." They walked out to a wall of silence. No one followed. When the door shut, the music started again, almost by instinct. Someone turned it up. Kids went back to their games, pretending nothing had happened. Later, while the lights dimmed and the hall emptied, Lily came to me holding a cookie shaped like a star. "Was that bad?" she asked. "It was fair," I said. She thought for a moment. "Fair feels better than nice." I smiled. "It usually does." We cleaned up together. When we were done, I set the unopened envelope beside the leftover cake. "Put it toward next year's decorations," I told the staff. Outside, laughter spilled from the parking lot, bright, unfiltered, nothing to fix. My phone buzzed again. Amber's name. I turned it over, face down on the table. Some lessons cost money. Some cost pride. This one cost both. And it was worth every cent. 6 months later, the house is quiet in a good way. No calls, no messages, no new rumors. I haven't spoken to Amber or Mom since the party. They circled the wagons, blood thicker than accountability, and that's fine. Brooklyn doesn't go to Lily's school anymore. They transferred her for a fresh start. Everyone knows what that means. Lily's world got bigger the same week Brooklyn's shrank. She has new friends, real ones. She laughs louder now. When she talks about school, there's no tension hiding between the words. I still catch myself staring at her sometimes, waiting for a trace of the old timidness. But it's gone. She's fearless now. Maybe that was the point. Still, when the house is too quiet, I replay that day. Brooklyn's tear-streaked face, Amber's glare, the door closing behind them. I tell myself they earned it. Most days I believe that. Other days, I wonder if I taught Lily strength or revenge. Whether I showed her how to stand up for herself or how to strike back hard enough that people don't try again. Maybe both. So tell me, did I go too far or not far enough? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for more.